All right. Hey, everyone. Mark here. Mark Pre-Markets. Thank you for joining me for an unusual session, right? Where we're going to go over how to day trade Bitcoin using the Trade Scanner Pro. So this is going to be another Trade Scanner Pro tutorial. As you can see, I have two charts up on my screen. So I have a whole lesson here to teach you guys about this, okay? So we're going to go over that. All right. So if you're new to the stream, welcome. I normally stream on Mondays where I do my Bitcoin analysis, and then we go over like the economic calendar, and then we see if we can find any trades. But today, this is purely Trade Scanner Pro, and we're going to talk about how to day trade this on a smaller time frame. Okay. So with that being said, let's get started. Let me pull up my special slide here. Okay. So this is for educational purposes only. For investment advice, please consult a licensed investment advisor. You guys should be able to hear me. Let me know if you guys don't hear me. Okay, you guys can hear me in the chat, right? I am streaming on Twitter and on Rumble as well. Okay, so hey, Stian, good to see you. If you want to share what city or what country you are from, that's always a fun fact. I'm streaming from the greater New York City area, also known as Northern New Jersey. All right, so before we get into the trades here, cool. All right, I got this thing working correctly this time, Stian. All right. So before we get started, just want to point out a couple of things. First, check the links in the description. Okay, there's a couple of useful links there. If you'd like to try the Trade Scanner Pro for 14 days for free, okay, which is the Trade Scanner tool for TradingView, you simply go to this website. If you look at the link in the description, okay, it'll take you to this website. In fact, I'm going to type the link into the chat as well, okay, so that you have it. All right, so hold on a second. Let me type that in here. All right. Stian, I know I have to change your status so that you can type stuff too. I haven't gotten to that yet, but I will. Okay. Okay, so if you go to this link, hold on a second. All right, that should be correct. I think I spelled it right. This link right here will take you to this page that you see. Okay, that link is also in the description. It explains how the Trade Scanner works. It tells you the features. It tells you a little bit about me. And then it takes you to this section right here, the pricing part. Okay, try for 14 days free upon sign up. Now, as you can see, it's not overly priced. You can switch to yearly or monthly. Okay, yearly, you're saving 25%. You simply go to this subscribe button here. Okay, you fill out this form that you see on the next page. All right, let's go to the form. And as you can see here, make sure you put your TradingView username. Okay, your username will go right here in this field right here. Make sure you put that, because if you don't, I can't send you the invite. I have to do a manual invite. And also, please keep in mind, and I'm going to remind you again before I close out the stream. I have to do it manually, so that takes a couple of hours. Okay, so it's not an instant you get an invite as soon as you sign up. Please keep that in mind. Don't put messages in the chat. Hey, how come I haven't got my invite? It takes a few hours. I'm going to say that one more time. It takes a few hours for me to send you the invite. Okay. Okay. Now, also check out the Discord community. There's a link to that there. There's a free area there. Check that out. And if you want to signal every week for free, we have the trade of the week. There's a link for that as well. Okay, you could sign up for that. And each week, the Trade Scanner, which is what Trade Scanner Pro is based on, the Trade Scanner will send you a trade. It will send you each week. It rotates. So one week it'll be like a coin, one week it'll be a Forex pair, and one week it'll be a stock. And if you want to see the results of something like that, you simply go here to the results button, okay, and you can see and get an idea of how this thing trades. Now, keep something in mind. This is not Trade Scanner Pro. This is Trade Scanner, okay? This works on a larger time frame, and this thing cannot do counter trend trades. It can't do all the cool things that Trade Scanner Pro can do. All right, so just please keep that in mind if you want signals by email only. All right, but anyway, you can get one for free each week. So this is a Trade Scanner Pro page. Make sure you sign up. Take advantage of that 14-day free trial, because these prices, $30 a month, $22.50 monthly if you pay for the year, are preliminary. They're introductory prices. I'm going to raise these prices. So if you lock these in now, you're locked in. Okay? All right. So also, check out, there's also some affiliate links in the description as well. Those are Stian's affiliate links. Stian, here, the guy in the chat, is the guy that helped me put this script together so that we can have this and we can day trade using this thing. He's responsible for all of the technology that we have in the community. So by opening an account at MEXC or at Bybit, or if you pay for TradingView charts, he gets a small commission. Okay. And it goes a long way into helping him support the community further and helping to provide such a great experience in terms of technology. So please, if you're thinking about doing something like that, consider one of these affiliate links. By the way, you don't need to use the professional version or the pro version of TradingView to use TradeScanner Pro. You can use it on the free version. It's just that the free version has some limitations, especially when it comes to like setting up notifications and things like that. All right. But if you want to try it out, you don't need to pay for TradingView. But if you want some more advanced features, I encourage you to use Stian's link. All right. So let's get started here with today's lesson. Now, I'm going to pull up my order book. Okay. So let's see. There's the order book. Now, let me point out a few things here. So before I get into this, for those of you that are like, how does this work? All right, I'm going to explain very quickly. I do this on every stream. TradeScanner Pro is a trend following momentum reversal system. Okay? Trend following momentum reversal system. Yes, that's a mouthful. What does that mean? So it works in 3 steps. First, it identifies a trend. That's the trend, right? Bullish. It can also be bearish. Then it looks for a pullback on the trend. That's what it waits for. Once it gets a pullback in the trend, it then measures the momentum during the pullback, okay, in that spot right there. Once we get a confirmation that the bullish momentum wants to continue, you get a signal right about there, okay? That's where it generates a signal. The signal looks like this. It generates a stop loss suggestion, an entry price suggestion, and a take profit suggestion, like you see over here on this chart. That's what a signal looks like, okay? So that is how TradeScanner Pro works. Interesting move on Bitcoin there while I'm explaining this. Now, also keep something in mind. Let me go back to that. TradeScanner Pro works in trend mode. Typically, what I showed you here is trend mode, but it also has something called counter trend mode, which I'm going to explain here as we go through the lesson. But counter trend looks for this move over here, and it ignores the side of the trend, and it will give you a signal on the opposite side of the trend, which can be useful in certain situations. Okay, it's for more advanced traders. But in the beginning, if you're a beginner, you don't have to get caught up in that. All right, so there are settings. I'm not going to explain all the settings now. If you watch Monday's stream, I explain them in much more detail, but I'll go through them as I use them. All right, so here's why I have 2 charts here today. In my previous streams, if you watch them, I always take these very aggressive counter trend trades, and you watch me basically get beat up. Okay, it's on paper, but keep in mind, I'm doing that at 4 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern time. Not a good time to typically trade or day trade. Time of day is very important. You have to know your instrument. Now, I chose a much 2 o'clock Eastern time because the stock market is still open and we have a little time for some momentum, right? Volume is typically better at this time. So that's why maybe we can see some good examples of trades here. Now, why do I have 2 charts up here? So here's the thing. In those streams, I'm always going counter. Well, what I want to show you here is how to stack the probabilities in your favor using the TradeScanner Pro. Okay, and we're going to do that by using 2 time frames. Now, what we're going to do first is we're going to look at the larger time frame, right? Now, this here is the 15-minute chart. We're going to use this time frame to define our trend, and then we're going to use the smaller time frame to take trades on the side of the bigger picture trend. This helps to stack probabilities in your favor. Now, let me ask you all a quick question, those of you that are watching. And Stian, don't answer this, okay? What is our trend? Can anyone tell me what is the side that I should be working at? I'm going to give you a hint. What is the side I should be working at on my smaller time frame? Anyone want to tell me except for Stian? Let's see, Stian, if we have people other than bots watching me. What is the time frame on this trend? What is the time frame on this chart, on this 15-minute chart? Can anyone tell me? Can anyone tell me? See what I mean, Steen? No one's listening. What is the time frame on this chart? Someone's got to tell me. Someone besides Steen has to tell me. What is the time frame? Hey, Nick. Okay, cool. So RY, what is that? What is the time frame on this trend? I mean, what is the time frame on this chart? Can anyone tell me? Cry? Okay, I don't know what that means. Well, I'm asking. So my question is, what is the trend on this time frame? What is the trend? Bearish, Howard. Okay, thank you, Howard. Bearish, yes, it says it right there. I keep pointing to it with the arrow. I'm trying to give you guys hints. So bearish. My 15-minute Bitcoin perpetual futures contract is bearish. I'm using the perpetual futures contract by MEXC, by the way, because it's Steen's affiliate link. But also, if you're going to trade Bitcoin for day trades, it's a good idea to consider the futures contracts, right? For a number of reasons, leverage and the simplicity of using one contract at a time and things like that. Of course, you need a decent sized account. You cannot, what I'm about to show you is not appropriate for a $500 account. Okay. You're going to need something like $2,500, $5,000. Like if you don't have that, you should not be looking at day trade timeframes. You really shouldn't, because you're going to get yourself into trouble. Okay. So bearish. Okay, cool. I don't know what you mean bearish cry. I don't know what that means, but okay. But this is bearish, which means on our 1 minute chart, we should be looking for shorts, right? If we're going to work on the side of the broader trend. Now, keep in mind, this trend can change, but right now it's defined as bearish. Now, does that make sense in terms of context? Now this is where we can use context to help build that argument, right? Now, this is where having some knowledge helps, okay? Using the TradeScanner Pro by itself is a big advantage, especially if you're a beginner, because it really simplifies your decision-making process. But you have to understand, most of the trades you take are probably going to have a 50% win rate because the market is highly random. So what you want to do is you want to help that improve by using context. And you don't have to have 10 years of experience to figure out context. You only need to really be familiar with three essential components, okay? Trend, which is usually the first thing everyone learns, support and resistance levels, and candlesticks. You don't need anything else. I see people, oh, I got stochastic. Oh, I got this, I got that. I got 10 moving averages. You don't need anything else. Trend, support and resistance levels, candlesticks. You can make adequate decisions and measure risk effectively with just those three things. I do a whole training program about that. But anyway, okay, so with that being said, let's switch over here to an hourly real quick. Why am I going to the hourly? Because I just want to get a sense of context, okay? The general structure here, I mean, this is pretty strong, right? This structure over here, higher low, right? It's trying to maintain this range. This is still a higher low relative to this broader structure, okay? Now, the trade scanner can't see this, so it's not going to help you with this. We're fooling around. If you notice, I have done a proportional measurement. We're fooling around the 382. This is a 382 support over here. So that's meaningful, all right? That's going to be important for my context, all right? So now we're going to go back to the 15-minute. Now, the 15-minute chart is telling us that Bitcoin is bearish, okay? But we have this support area here, which is basically the 382 on the hourly. So that's important. It's an important piece of information, which means if we get any trades into this area, if price pushes into this area, we should probably be thinking long, even though this trend says bearish, okay? Now, when this trend says bearish, the reason why it says that is because it's looking at these, right? It's looking at this momentum. That's why it's calling it bearish, lower highs, okay? So at this point, as long as this resistance stays intact, we can agree with that bearish assessment, okay? It makes sense. So I'm going to go with that. Now, you see there's a trade on this chart, okay, the signal here, but I'm ignoring that signal. In fact, I think what I'll do, Steen, is I'll turn it off because it can be bothering us here. So if I put counter trend on it, see it goes away. So in fact, let me put all of these things on. I'll explain these real quick. The bottom feature over here is show your previous trades. You notice all these little green arrows popped up. Those were previous signals, okay? So you want to put that up. By default, all of these are not checked. So you want to check that when you start your TradeScanner Pro, okay? You want to check that. You want to check the heads up. I'll explain heads up are orange candles that let you know a signal is coming soon. Trailing stop is the trailing stop. I'll show you that. And counter trend, like I said before, looks for signals against the trend, right? I put counter trend on here, which would actually be looking for bullish trades because this is a bearish trend. So it would be looking for longs, and you're not going to get any longs here. So by putting counter trend on, it erased that bearish that short trade idea that was on the chart, those order suggestions, okay? So that cleans up the chart and makes it a little more easier for us to understand, okay? Following me so far? Even though there was only 2 people. Oh, okay, cool. Hey, Nick. Yeah. Okay, so, again, if you're just joining me, welcome. We're going to look for some trades in a moment. I'm just explaining some context here. So we kind of have an idea, like, should I be looking for bearish trades on my 1 minute? So I'm using my 15-minute chart. Now, if you're a beginner, okay, I suggest you do something like this. You set up the 2 charts, use your bigger picture chart to give you a sense of context. Now, the smaller picture chart, the 1 minute, this is where we want to take trades. Now, you notice TradeScanner Pro is active on both charts, okay? And my 1 minute says bullish. Notice that over here, it says bullish. Well, I don't want to take bullish trades. We've just assessed that the bigger picture is bearish, right? So who can tell me, Steen, don't answer this. Who can tell me how I can set this up to find bearish trades? Anyone? Nick, you've been following me now for a little bit here. Maybe you can tell me. How would I set this up? What would I have to do to get bearish trade signals on this thing? All right, let's say you're using TradeScanner Pro. What would you have to do? Let's see if people are paying attention. I'll give you a hint. It's in the settings. What would I change in the settings so that I can see short setups? Because I'm interested in the short side because we just assessed that from the bigger picture. Anyone want to tell me? Nick is like the only guy here. So it's Nick and Steen and Howard. Howard, you can answer if you want. Come on, people, don't be shy. This is the only way you're going to learn. If you can also say, I don't know. Howard, how about you? I don't want, Steen knows all the answers. That's why I'm telling him not to answer. I want to give other people a chance to answer here. I mean, Steen's done an amazing job with, we just pushed an update on Sunday, with some fixes. Counter trend, Andrea, good answer. Andrea coming out of nowhere. Turn of counter. Okay, you guys got it. I know there's a little bit of a delay with my thing here. So I go to counter trend. How do I do that? Well, I'm going to point to it. I go to the settings, right? I go to the settings of the TradeScanner Pro. Okay. And I switch. I'm going to turn all of these on, heads up, trailing stop, and counter trend. See that? Counter trend. Now, this is something for advanced traders. And like when I use this, I'm constantly flipping this on and off. Okay. But I'm using this with context. So counter trend is on, which means I am now looking for bearish trades on a chart that says the trend is bullish. Now, this is a 1 minute chart. Okay. I'm looking for bearish trades because the 15-minute, just as a refresher here, the 15-minute tells me that the general trend is bearish or the broader trend is bearish. I'm looking for day trades here. Okay. So I'm on the 1 minute. Now, keep something in mind. There are times when you have to go below 1 minute. In fact, for the market that I'm very active in, the NASDAQ, I'm regularly using 30-second or 15-second charts, which you have to have for that. You have to have a paid version of TradingView. You have to have the most expensive paid version of TradingView to change to those sub 1 minute timeframes. I'm going to try to avoid using those here because I want this to be beginner friendly and I want you to be able to do what I'm showing you without having to pay. Okay. So, because I want you to try the free trial and I want you to be able to have a similar experience. So I'm going to try to avoid going to those smaller timeframes. Now, I'm in counter trend mode. How do I know? It says right here, counter trend mode active. Let me move all this little stuff out of the way. Okay. See where it says right here where my arrow is? I'll put the arrow there. See the arrow? It says counter trend mode active. So now I know I'm in counter trend. So I'm expecting bearish trades, right? Now, let me point out something else. Orange candles, that's heads up. Heads up means a signal is likely to appear soon. See, there's little orange candles all over the place here, right? So it's telling us that this thing is about to show us a counter trend signal soon, okay? There was a counter trend signal here, obviously, but this stopped out, right? You're going to get stopped out. It's going to happen, especially when, you're taking trades that are during a slower time. I'm hoping we get a better, better price quality, better price action at this time, because typically this time of day you do. So we'll see. But stop outs happen. Now, one thing we can do is we can also take a quick look at our 30-minute. Let's just see where are we on the 30-minute. There's a trade here on the 30-minute. This trade is a interesting long trade on the 30-minute that's been in play. All right. You could see the trailing stop here is advanced. I'm not analyzing the trade idea. I really don't care for that. I'm looking to get short. All right. And I just want to make sure that this makes sense. Okay. So back to the 15-minute. You could use a 15. You could use a 30-minute. This 15-minute just gives us a little more detail. All right. And there is some resistance up here. So I don't have a signal yet, but I like the price action. So I'm going to be aggressive. All right. And here we go. I'm going to short one. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? Let's see if this will let me do it. I'm going to put a limit order. Okay. I'm going to put a limit order. I just put a limit order up above the market a bit. Right. I don't know if they're going to fill that, but let's see if they do. If they do, I get a better price. Okay. I just clicked on the order book and I placed a sell order. Now, you know how Bitcoin can fool around, right? And possibly tap me in. So I'm being aggressive. There's no signal yet. I'm hoping Bitcoin does this, right? I'm hoping it does that. That'll tap me into the trade, the limit order that I just put up. There we go. I just got tapped in. All right, at a little bit of a better price instead of hitting a market order, right? I got a slightly better price. I like to do that when there's no signal and I see prices just fooling around. I mean, I could put another limit order probably like up here somewhere, but I'm not going to, right? I just wanted to get into one, so I have one. I have one early because I see some warning, and I'm interested in shorts because our bigger picture says the trend is bearish, right? So we're at a resistance. I'm anticipating that this resistance will stick and we'll get some kind of pullback, okay? It's a day trade. I'm hoping to make, if I can make 100 points, 200 points, that's typical on Bitcoin, right? So it's important to, again, like respect the orders, respect the stops. This thing can go ridiculously against me very quickly, right? So I only have one contract on, and I'm hoping to add. Now, I put this contract on. What that action right there is advanced, and I wouldn't expect it to be able to do that. But I like to do that. It's just part of my style. It's what I like to do. Okay, now, and if it starts to work, then I have an opportunity to add. Now, I'm waiting for a signal. So if we get a signal, I'll add one. That's going to be one add. And if it gives me a hard time after this signal, I may have an opportunity to add more if it doesn't go to the stop. Let's see. Now look at this, right? So our trend hasn't changed yet. It's still bullish. All right. Okay, cool. I'm a little green now. Okay. Can I get a signal? Let's see. Am I getting a signal? Maybe I'll get a signal on the close of this candle. This is a 1 minute. These 1 minutes take forever to close. Okay. But here in this case, the warning helped me out, right? The warning gave me some advanced notice. I was able to get a better price because I put in a limit order in advance. Okay. And I took advantage of the noise. Now, no signal, right? No signal yet. All right. So I'll wait. No problem. I have one contract. So I'm cool. And it's going to still see, it still wants to fool around. No problem. So I'm not reacting to things here. I could have reacted to that. We'll put another one on real quick. No, I'm waiting for the signal. I got one on. That's why I have one on. So now if it starts to run without, and I never get a signal, hey, at least I got a little piece of it. But I also know that these things like to fool around. So, okay, go ahead, fool around. Maybe I'll get a signal. Are you guys following me so far? Any questions? So again, the whole point of having a tool like this is to minimize your decision-making process so that you don't have to guess, where do I get in? Where do I get out? How do I trail my stop? Okay. This thing answers all of that for you, and you could use it on any time frame. I'm showing you on the day trade time frame because it's very effective here, but you can use it on other time frames. In fact, Stian suggests that if you're a beginner, you should use it on the 15-minute time frame starting out only, right? What I'm showing you here is, again, a little more advanced. Now, understand something. You know, when you're new in this game, I realize that people that are brand new, you know, maybe you've been looking at this for a few months or something, you want to hear how you're going to get rich tomorrow, right? You're attracted to all the dreams and all the nonsense, and you don't like reality. What typically happens is you will get wiped out, or you get hammered a few times, and then a year will go by, and then you'll start to appreciate my content. And most of the people that have been following for years, most of the people come to me and say, man, I wish I found you 3 years ago. And I say, well, you know, you probably wouldn't have been interested in what I was saying, because I show you reality. I open your eyes to reality. I don't sell dreams. And in the beginning, we all want to hear dreams. So if you're one of those people, you know, maybe I could save you the time. Go to one of those fake gurus. I'm showing you reality here. Oh, look at that. Never even gave us a signal. And I'm in. Okay. I have been using it on one day. Oh, how's it been going, Andrea? That's slow. On a daily time frame, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just slow. You're not going to get a lot of signals. But, you know, you find the time frame that's convenient for you. That's good that you use it on the daily. Okay, I prefer the smaller time frames, but that's the beauty of the Trade Scanner Pro. You use it how you find for, you know, the best use. Now, for people that are busy, okay, and you can't sit in front of the screen like I'm doing here, you can simply set notifications, right? You can do this, and then you just pick this over here, right? You pick that, and then you tell TradingView how you want to be notified. You choose your options or whatever. You could do this on the free account. You could do this on a paid account. It doesn't matter. And it's just limited with the free account, how many of these you can use. But the thing is, it's a really cool feature because you can go about your business and wait for a signal. Have you used that, Andrea? Man, this is a nice, it's too bad I never got a signal here. Now watch this. I bet you there was a signal on the 32nd. I'm trying not to show these sub-minute time frames. Let's see. No signal here? Okay. Or maybe there was a signal up here. Let me go to a 15-second. A lot of times, if you don't see the signal on the minute chart, usually you have to go lower. And I'm just trying to avoid that because I want to show you on what you can use. If you have the most expensive version of TradingView, oh, there's a signal. What is that? Oh, that's counter trend. That's a bullish signal. I'm not interested in that. All right. So I was going to say, to use to go below these, this is a 15-second chart. To use these time frames, you have to have the most expensive version of TradingView. Now, something like this is not going to confuse me. I'm not going to get out because I know that this is a low probability signal. I'm looking for shorts, not longs. This is a long, and it's on a 15-second chart, so I'm not interested in that. Okay, so I ignore it. Now look at this, beautiful. Man, how much am I up? Oh, I'm not up that much. Too bad. It's because I only have one contract on. Okay. In fact, I never got a signal. So I think I'm just going to cover it. Take the money. I got out. Okay. So, you know, if we look at my paper trade over here, right, I go to my history. You can see the trade, right? $150. Okay. That wasn't even on a signal. How cool is that? Wasn't even on a signal. That was simply the warning that got me in. The warning. That's why I took that trade. The warnings. And I was hoping to get a signal. Okay. And I was going to add to it. But now, do you see how something like that can help you be on the right side? Look, the double top. Okay. The bigger picture helped me choose the right side. I was anticipating that. So that's why I was a little more aggressive, because I was confident that we're probably going to see some kind of pullback attempt. And there it is. I just never got a signal. But all right, so I took the money off the table. Now let's see this. I mean, this thing looks like it has some room to pull back. Do I want to take counter trend on smaller time frames? The trend is still bullish here, right? So if I want to try to take advantage, maybe we do get some kind of up move. If I'm going to be aggressive, I take counter trend off. And then maybe see, look, I got orange candles. There's a warning right there for a long. Okay, so I'm going to be aggressive. I'm buying it. Okay, now I'm going against the bigger picture here. This is usually where I run into problems. But let's see if I could just get a little thing up. My expectations are going to be low. So I bought one on the warning. Once again, I don't suggest doing this as a beginner, but I want you to see the result. Okay. Now, the warning means a signal is likely to follow in the next few candles. That's the beauty of having the warning. And by the way, when you have your notifications set and you get a warning, you'll get a notification on this warning as well. Okay. You'll get your pop-up on your TradingView app, or you'll get an email. However you tell TradingView to send you that notification, you will get it on the warning. You'll also get it when your trade reaches a take profit or the stop. Okay. So let's see if we get the long signal. But if this thing pops up back up into this level, I'm going to short it again. Hopefully we get a signal that time. So I'm just trying to take advantage of this noise, because that's what this is. All right. And this one I just jumped into with a market order. Right. That first trade that I took, there's the signal. Okay. That's the signal. The warning gave us the heads up on that. That's why it's called heads up. So I'm long one. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to put the limit order below the market. Let's see if I can get that limit order filled. All right. A lot of times what happens is this thing tries to go and it pulls back and fools around. If it pulls back and fools around, I'll get my second one. Now, notice that the trade signal vanished, right? So that happens because the criteria gets filtered out. Now, look, my order got filled. See what I mean? So instead of chasing it with a market order up here, I had the order below the market. Now, this is a low probability trade because I'm going against the bigger picture. Remember the bigger picture? This thing has a lot of room to pull back, right? But I'm hoping that it just fools around a bit, right? And let's see if I can do something with this. So I had one from the warning. Now I have my second one from this entry, but I used a limit order below the market to get a slightly better price. Okay, so I don't have such a bad price. Like, I was not filled up here. I was filled like a little lower. Now this is not working very well. I shouldn't be that surprised. I'm going against the bigger picture. Okay, I was hoping we'd get like a pop or something. We're not getting it. I'm going to respect the orders. The trailing stop is trying to come into play here. You could see it, but it's going to get stopped out. All right, it was aggressive. What am I going to do? It hasn't reached the stop yet. So something like this, I'm not going to give this a chance because I see where I am on the bigger picture. So if it reaches a stop, I blow it out. Okay, goodbye. Out. I'm not going to give this a chance. I tried that counter trend trade. It was a bad idea. Okay. I got the signal and everything, but no good. Okay, no problem. The whole point of this lesson is I want to work on the side of the trend, the bigger picture trend. So now I'm back on counter trend. I put counter trend back on. You notice? Put counter trend back on because the trend here is still bullish, right? And now I'm looking for bearish trades. I'm not going to get a bearish trade here. In order for me to get a bearish trade, this thing needs to what? Who can tell me? What does this need to do for me to have a bearish trade? If you want to answer this, Steen, okay, Steen may feel left out now because I've been telling him not to answer anything. You can answer, Steen, you can answer questions now. I just wanted to give some people a chance. What would I have to wait for to get a bearish trade? Like, should I be shorting this thing right now? What do I have to wait for? Anyone else that's using the trade scanner? What would I have to wait for? Anyone? Don't be shy. You can also say, I don't know. Okay. Okay, cool. Instead of quoting Seinfeld, you should quote. But I like Seinfeld better, Steen. What is going on here? Why is it when I go short, I'm still tall? I love Jerry Seinfeld. I just saw him on a YouTube. He was on one of those talk shows talking about his thing, whatever. Andrea says break support. No, that's not the answer. It's a good try, but that's not the answer. What do I have to do to get short? I'm not looking for support breaks. What does a Trade Scanner Pro? What does it do? What does it look for? That's why I explain that. I do that whole spiel in the beginning where I explain how it works. What does this thing look for? Does this thing look for support and resistance breaks? What does this thing look for? Think about how the trade scanner works. What does it look for? Stian, you can answer this if you want. What does this look for? Who said the bounce? Howard, you got it. Pullback. Stian, right, correct. It looks for a pullback. I'm going to say it like Seinfeld. It looks for a pullback. So it looks for a pullback, right? It measures the pullback, and then when the momentum changes, right? Usually when the momentum is changing, you get these heads up. That's when it generates the signal, once it confirms. So in order for me to get short here, this thing needs to bounce. That's what it needs to do. Now, here's the thing. Like I've shown you trades like on Friday where I'm just getting beat up the whole time because I'm going against the bigger picture. In this situation, right, we may not get an adequate bounce. I'm on the 1 minute time frame. We may not get an adequate bounce. So what do I do? Can anyone answer that question? If I don't get an adequate bounce on my 1 minute, but there may have been a signal over here to go short, but how do I find that signal? What do I have to do? See, and this is the whole point of the tutorial. I want you guys to be able to answer these type of questions. What do I have to do to spot signals, the type of signals, or to give me a better chance of catching those type of signals? What do I do? This was a pullback over here, but not enough on the 1 minute. What do I do? I'll give you guys another few seconds to answer that question. What do I do? How do I find bearish signals if this thing does not really pull back on the 1 minute? Because I need bearish signals here. I'm not going to go long again. I'm not going to keep fighting this thing, especially with all this potential. There's a lot of potential here to pull back. I'm not going to keep buying that. I want to short it. Okay? So no one's answering this question. By the way, if you're just joining me, if you want to check out the TradeScanner Pro 14-day free trial, just go to the link that you see that I have here on the chart. That link there's also a link in the description. Check it out. You can try this out for 14 days. Steen, I don't understand why people they look at this, they watch this and oh, it's kind of cool. And I'm like, so you want to try it out? Well, I need to think about it. Oh. I don't know what to tell you on that one. Okay. I mean, they obviously, some people just can't see the value of this tool. It excites me because it would have been nice if I had something like this when I was new. All right. Anyway, so Steen says, check the smaller time frames. Yes. Yes, you guys are correct. Yes, Andrea, you're correct. Smaller time frames. Now, the reason why I'm not so quick to do that is because some people may not have access to them, but let's do it. So let's go to a 30-second. Okay. This is what you have to do when you actively trade. Now, look, my 30-second is a trade, but this is another long trade, right? Why is this long? Because I'm in counter trend mode and this trend is bearish on this time frame, which is a 30-second. I'm not interested in this. So I'm going to ignore this, right? So don't just because there's a signal on your chart doesn't mean you just jump into it blindly. This is not part of my plan. Okay. I'm looking for shorts. So in this case, I have to turn counter trend off because I want to be on the side of this trend. Okay. Because I want to be on the side of this trend. I mean, that's really what I'm trying to trade here. The whole point of this stream is I want to use the larger time frame as my reference. Okay. I'm not looking for signals on this time frame. I'm only interested in looking at the trend. And this trend says bearish. So if this trend says bearish, then on this smaller time frame, I want to look for shorts. Because basically it's giving me the detail that you can't see here. Right? That's the whole point. So this is basically a multi-time frame strategy where you're using the TradeScanner Pro on both sides. Now, another cool thing you can do with this is you can have counter trend mode, like you can set these to the same time frame, for example, right? Right now I have a 1 minute and a 15 minute, but you can switch it to a 1 minute and a 1 minute, and one could be trend, one could be counter trend, and you'll see all the trades. You'll see all kinds of signals. Okay, but by leaning on the bigger picture, you improve your probability of a positive outcome. I just got paid for the first month, and I can continue. What? I just got paid for the first month and I can continue to test it for okay, cool. Well, I'm glad to hear that, Andrea. I'm glad to hear that. How long have you been involved in the markets for? I'm just curious. Okay, so again, people that may be just joining me, or if you're new, do yourself a favor, right? While waiting for a signal, go to this link, okay? The link in the description or the link that you could see on the screen here. Go to this page and sign up for a 14-day free trial. Try it out. I mean, you have nothing to lose. You don't get billed unless you wait till after the 14 days. If you cancel before the 14 days, you don't get billed, okay? And it's very easy to cancel. You just log into your user dashboard, which you can do right from up here, okay? Right there where you see my arrow, my pointer. You log in there and you cancel it if that's what you want to do. But honestly, you need to give this 14 days is a good trial period. But to really get a good feel for this thing, you need to spend at least a month on it, in my opinion, okay, to get a feel for its for the nuance, because you have to find a time frame that you're happy with. What I'm showing you here, many people probably aren't interested in a 1-minute chart, but this is for day traders. Okay, that is my specialty. That's what I am, and so I'm very I'm very keen to very small time frames. 5 second, 15 second, 30 second, 1 minute. I'm very active on those time frames. But that's very advanced. I've been doing this for a very long time. It doesn't mean you have to do that. You find a time frame that's comfortable for you. Man, it'd be nice to get a signal. This is the reason why I jump on those counter trend trades that I show you guys, because I get signals even though they don't work. I'm trying to show you action. Here, I want to show you how to place effective trades. And as you can see, I have to wait for a signal. Now, this is the 30 second. Let's go to a 15 second. Okay. Now, again, you have to have the most expensive trading view package for this to see these charts. There was a signal here. Okay. On the 15 second, which is obviously in play right now. Let me see. Is my trailing stop on? What if I turn this off? Do I see anything? No. Okay. Sometimes, see, the trailing stop probably got tapped out over here. Otherwise, the trailing stop would be following this. Now, sometimes when your take profit is reached, the trade closes. Steen is still working on that, just so you know. He's still working on it. Okay. So because this thing is reluctant, it's a good thing I don't keep buying this thing, right? Good thing the 15-minute is keeping me from doing that, taking those counter trend trades. I'm going to use the 15-second chart because I want a signal, right? So I missed this one. This one was bullish, so I missed this bearish one. That would have been nice. Let's wait for another bearish one. Hopefully we can get one in the next 10 minutes. All right, so this is my context, and this has kept me out so far, right? From taking any counter trend longs. Now, where could I take counter trend longs? Well, if we start fooling around, well, we're kind of in a support here, but this is not a major support. I'd want to see something like this, right? I'd be more comfortable, or something like in this area over here for counter trend longs if I'm going to take a long. Okay, right now I'm still interested in shorts. So again, this is where context comes in. Like there is some kind of support over here. Look, there is support over here in this area right here. So that would be a good spot for counter trend longs on my smaller time frame. Right? Does that make sense? Remember when we looked earlier at the 1 hour chart, remember this level over here was the 382 on an hourly chart. Remember that. So this low area, this zone here is a bigger picture support, which says, okay, you know what? If I get some long confirmations on my smaller time frame, I'd be open to it. Okay, does that make sense? 10 plus years. Wow, Andrea, so you're no beginner. Okay, cool. All right, that's good to know. So you've been at it for a while. I got you beat though. All right. So, but that's good. I don't talk to many people that have been doing this 10 years. It's a testament to you that you've stuck with it that long. A lot of people give up after a year or two. 3 years, they're out. Okay. So, and it's a hard game. This is a very hard game. And the reason why the game is so hard, and I tell people all the time, it's people focus all their attention on the wrong things. That's the problem. I spent 15 years doing the wrong things. 15 years. And I was just getting to figure things out like 15 years into it. I've told that story before, right? And the big aha moment or the big light bulb is not what you think. Like, oh, you figured out some kind of magical thing. No, what I figured out was markets are random. That's what I figured out. They're mostly random. Not always random, but mostly, especially on these time frames, they're very random. Once that sinks in, you start to see information that makes sense, like the essential components. That's where I came up with, okay, trend, support and resistance, candlesticks, fibs can help, chart patterns, things like that, wave counts. Those are things that can help us anticipate certain behaviors, right? And that's what put me on the right path. But it all began with markets are random. They're mostly random. Most people don't accept that. When I tell them that, they're like, yeah. But then they say, so where do you think Bitcoin's going to go? I have no idea, man. It's random. It can go anywhere. It can do anything. So markets are random. People that tell you that they forecast markets are lying. Maybe they're either fooling themselves, they're fooling you, but you cannot forecast markets with any accuracy, especially on these time frames. Okay, look, we're getting a little pop-up here, and this is cool because I'm hoping to get a short signal. Okay, so now I should see in this situation, right? I'm looking for a trend trade because I want a bearish trade. This trend is bearish now. Remember the trend was bullish on there it is. Okay, hold on. Let's get one on. Now, this is a 15-second chart. So this may be funky. Okay, so I'm going to put one on and I'm going to see this may stop out, but I'm confident on this side. So if I see, like if this stops out, I'm going to try to give this a chance. Why? Because of my bigger picture context. This is a 15-second chart. These candles are going to be very dramatic. Okay, see what I mean? Now, if we get another warning here, right? We got a little warning candle. Remember, every 15 seconds we're going to get a new candle. So this can easily stop out and then give us another trade. So let's see what happens here. I got one. I'm going to see if I could put on another one. Okay, but I'm not going to rush into that. What I'd like to see, we're going to stop out. Okay, no problem. I'm not going to bang this out because it's a 15-second chart. I'm not going to bang this out. I'm going to wait for the next signal. I don't suspect that this thing is going to do anything. I mean, I could be wrong. It may go vertical on me. Anything can happen. Like it can do this to me. That can happen. Okay, but I'm going to bet that it's not going to happen. And I'm going to wait for the next warning like we got right there. And I'm going to add one. Okay. Now, since we got that little pop-up on let me go to a 30-second. See, I'd prefer to take the signal on the 30-second because the 30-second is going to be a little more stable than the 15-second. See? So now I got two based on the 15-second. Let's see if we can get a 30-second signal. Now, what's happening here? Okay, so we're coming up to 3 o'clock. Usually there could be like, sometimes there's unusual behaviors around these, 2 o'clock, 2:30, 3 o'clock. And the Bitcoin reacts to like the NASDAQ and the S&P when the market is open a lot of times. So we're getting here, right? This 15-minute is about to close, and it's going to close with a bullish pin bar. Okay, just something to keep in mind. I'm not reacting to that, just something to keep in mind. Now, what I'm looking for, again, I'm on my 30-second chart here. I'm looking for the signal. That 15-second completely failed. All right, but I put two on, right? Based on that, I got the warning here. So let's see if we get the signal. If I get the signal, I will short my third one, and then let's see if that one follows through. Okay, so, okay, cool. So people, again, if you're just joining me, make sure you check the links in the description. Make sure you like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's always helpful. I'm hoping that this technique here, by watching the bigger picture and comparing it to the smaller picture while using the TradeScanner Pro, is helpful to you, right? This is a good exercise for you to use during your free trial. Okay, set up two charts, set up a 15-minute, set up a 1 minute. This is if you want to be a day trader. If you don't want to day trade, then you could do this with larger time frames. Like you could do like a 4 hour and a 1 hour. You could do a daily and a 4 hour. You are trying to short after the trend to break the support. I don't know what you're saying there. I'm not trying to short. The trend is bearish. I'm just following what the trade scanner is telling me. Okay, I'm waiting I still don't have a signal yet. I'm still waiting for the signal on this 30-second chart. You may not understand what I'm trying to do here. Okay. I'm shorting because the general trend is bearish. We're coming off this double top. Sure, there may be some support here. There may be some. But I consider this minor. That's why I'm willing to take shorts at these low prices. These aren't the best prices, but again, my system looks for momentum. Okay. The levels are important, yes. But the thing is, if this momentum continues, then I should be able to get something out of it. I'm not looking for huge trades here. These are day trades. I'm hoping to get, 100 points, 150 points. I mean, that's reasonable for a day trade on Bitcoin. I'm not looking for thousands of points here. Okay. So understand what I'm trying to do. All right. Okay. Yes, I'm trying to short. Okay. I need to do better than that. I never got a signal though. All right. Let's see. That's a 30-second. Is there a 15-second signal? Let's see. No 15-second signal either. That's I bet you, I'm willing to bet that there's a 5-second signal. Let's see. No 5-second signal either? Okay, a 5-second chart is a chart you should never look at. Okay, this thing is going to be like, it's going to drive you nuts. Oh, there's some old signals here, but they probably were stopped out. So let's not look at the 5-second chart. Definitely don't want to get in the habit of looking at that. All right. So again, these are dramatic candles. Let's let them do their thing. But no signal. See, now a situation like this, see how it's popping up again? Okay, cool. That may lead to a signal. Just because we get warnings all the time, right? We have this warning over here. We never got the signal because the candles never met the criteria. That's why you're like, well, where's the signal? Never met the criteria. That's going to happen, especially on a very fast moving time frame like a 30-second. All right. So let's see if we could make the lower low. We have some support here. Let's see if we clear that. That may hold. Okay. Maybe we break. Let's see. You understand something, right? For those of you that are like confused here, my system accounts for the fact that markets are random. Okay? Random. So you could sit here and say all these technical things like, well, you're trying to short into this special blah, 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 blah. It's random. It's like playing a slot machine. My script, my system accounts for that. We're playing momentum. The levels help us have points of reference where we can anticipate a behavior, but the market has to confirm. Okay. Now this thing is sitting on the support. With this momentum, if it's going to be weak, that support should break. Okay. Now it may not break, but look what's happening here. So this is a potential double bottom area, right? On that 15-minute. See that? That's why I have the 15-minute up. It gives me a point of reference. But I'll tell you one thing that I like about this is we had that bullish pin bar on the 15-minute. And when you have a bullish pin bar, if it's going to reverse, the next candle should be taking out that high and the next candle should just be on its way. Like that's momentum, right? This is what it should look like. It should look like that. But it's eating into the pin bar. That's a sign of weakness. So it doesn't mean that I'm going to be right. It just means that I think there's a better chance we break the support. Okay. And we're going into there is some support in this area. I mean, look, there's an old resistance here. See that? There is some old resistance back here. So that can be problematic. Let's see. So if we break it, I'm not expecting a move to like here. I'm not expecting that. If we break it, I'm hoping to get like a little bit of an extra move, like something into that midpoint area right there. Something like that. I'd be happy to get out there. But look, we're not getting that. People are buying. 1 minute they're selling, next minute they're buying. Look at that on the 30-second. All right, no problem. Now let's see. Am I getting counter trend signals on here? Let's see what's going on. Am I? Let's see. I don't have a new one. I had some earlier ones. Look at this. Counter trend longs. It's too bad I don't really like this level. If I was more confident with this level, I'd be interested in these counter trend longs. Okay, but we're just not at that. I'm using my judgment. I could be wrong, but I'd like to see, if I'm going to take those type of longs, I want to see a lower price. Okay, if I'm going to look for those. So right now I'm going to stay in trend mode. Okay, which on this time frame is still bearish on this mini, but actually it's bearish on both time frames. Right, we're bearish here, we're bearish here. So I'm betting on that. Hey, Raul, cool. Cool. All right. I guess you're the less expensive version of Lambo, Raul. All right. You know who he is? Anyway, because obviously the car is cheaper. All right. Yeah. So let's see if this thing could do. Now, I never got a signal. I'm still waiting for one. We get these pop-ups, but it's just not meeting the criteria. So another thing that this kind of illustrates is the amount of patience you have to have if you're watching this thing. Now, again, that's why I try to be aggressive, so I can show you signals. I could show you the trailing stop and all that other stuff. But when we're waiting for actual trades, as you could see, it requires waiting. There is some waiting involved here. Or you could set up your notifications, but obviously I'm not going to set up a notification for the stream and then walk away and be like, oh, hey, guys, I just got a notification. You know, I'm not going to do that. All right, makes sense? That's where the chart, right. So again, right, like Stian said, that's where you set up your notifications. You don't have time to wait for this like we have to do here. I'm doing this for demonstration purposes, but I think a very effective way to use TradeScanner Pro, because again, you have to make it your own. You know, you set the notifications. Use an hourly chart. Like Stian suggests, start with a 15-minute chart. You're not going to sit around for 3 hours waiting for a signal on your 15-minute chart. You simply set notifications. You go here and you set your notifications. You put this to TradeScanner Pro, and that's it. You tell TradingView how you want to be notified. Okay, it's that simple. And TradingView will notify you about the heads up. It will notify you about a trailing stop being touched or you take profit. Okay, so far so good here, but no signal. This is a 30-second. Let's go to my 15-second. I'm sorry I have to show these small time frames, but it's the only place where the action is when you get these slow, reluctant markets. Okay. 5-second maybe. I really don't want to show a 5-second. Look, there was a long signal on the 5-second. You see, that wasn't good. Back to the 30-second. All right. Now, this time, since this is a reluctant market, okay? Reluctant markets are hard to trade because there's no follow through here, right? We got this double top over here, right? We got bearish momentum. It reacted again. People obviously sold again, but there's no follow through. This thing should be following through if there's real activity here. Like we should see the break, right? We're not seeing the break. We're seeing the, I don't know what I want to do. That's what we're seeing. And this could really test your patience. All right. You know who I'm talking about. Okay, Raul. Yeah. You do know who I'm talking about. Yeah. Anyway, no comment. That's all I'm going to say. All right. So this price action really isn't doing it for me. Now, I don't want to spend like the entire day on this thing like I do waiting for trades. So I'll keep you a few more minutes. If this thing doesn't want to cooperate, it doesn't want to cooperate. But let's see. I'm like break even on this trade, right, that I'm in. I got 2 contracts. I never got my short signal. I just took an early short, right? I started with the heads up over here. And then there was like, I started on the 15-second chart. Then I got a 30-second heads up. I started stepping into that. And since then, we've just been waiting for a signal. Now, keep in mind, there's no signal. I got in early in anticipation of a signal so that I can have a little bit of size. And when the signal appears, I can put on more. That's the whole idea. So that if I'm wrong on my early size, I lose smaller than if I'm right. That is how you increase the chances of a positive outcome over time. When you win more. When you lose less. It's about size, not accuracy, right? Everyone wants the 99% win rate. Okay. You're still naive. You don't realize that that's not how this game works. That's the retail trader mentality. Okay. Cool, Andrea, cool. And remember, if you have any questions about something, like if you're using this and you have questions, feel free to reach out. You could send me an email. You could reach out to me in the Discord channel, TradingView. You could send me a message. If you have questions about the TradeScanner Pro, I'm happy to, answer them. Okay. So thanks for stopping by, and I'm glad you got something out of it. Nice. Bitcoin's breaking. Maybe Andrea, she dumped her shares. She dumped her, now we're breaking. Thanks, Andrea, for selling it. That's why she's leaving. She's like, all right, I had enough. I'm just going to sell everything and watch this thing break. All right, I'm joking. All right, so people. All right, so we're back to the support. Can we break the support? George, what do you think? Yeah, Jerry, I don't know. I can't do George Costanza. I just can't do an impression of him. I only could do Jerry. I'm working on Kramer, though. I think I could do Kramer. But here we are, right? The fact when this thing just gives up like this and it just breaks, it just gives up, we should break the support now. Because you understand what's going on just from a microstructure level. I mean, people are getting long, and then when it just does this, usually like that's it. Like the party's over. Okay, the longs have failed. And they get caught in this thing, and then this thing breaks. Now, if we get the break, if we get the support break, that's still so far no break. But if we get the break, I'm going to start covering because I never got the signal, first of all. So in reality, if you were following this conservatively, because I'm being aggressive, if you follow this conservatively, as you should, if you're a beginner and you're using real money, you should have no trade on right now. Okay, there we go. Beautiful. Let's buy one back. Bought one. Oh man, it's there we go. That's what happens when you break support. That's what I'm talking about. Too bad we never had a signal, but I'm still in because the TradeScanner Pro. Now the TradeScanner Pro was able to help me take advantage of that. Why? Because I had at least a warning back here. I had a heads up right over here. That's what got me started. Plus, I'm watching the bigger picture. And that's also helping. That's helping to tell me avoid longs, work on the short side or expect a little more from the shorts. That's the break. That's a support break. That's what it looks like. Okay, this is where the longs that were getting long, they get pushed out of their position, and they all bang out at the same time. That's when it breaks. Okay, so I covered one. I was a buyer. I bought one. Now I'm letting the other one ride. Now, if this was a signal, the trailing stop would start following this thing. Okay, the trailing stop would start doing things like this, and then it would keep me in. But I don't have the signal, so I'm just letting it ride. There's just no reason. When I see something I don't like, I'll get out. Now, here's what I'll do. I'll use a TradeScanner to help me get out. So this trend is bearish, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to counter trend, and when it gives me a long signal, or maybe the heads up, look, I got one long heads up right here. See that one? I'll consider getting out. But until then, I'm going to let it ride. I'm going to let it ride. All right. So do you see, even though I never got a signal, when you're a little more advanced, it allowed me to be on the right side. I had no idea it was going to break like this, but it helped me stack the probabilities. Okay. Yes, there was no signal. Yes, you have to be a little more advanced, but I want you to see that value. Okay. Is that an orange candle? Yeah. All right, so here's what I'll do. Here's my plan. If I see a solid green candle, I'm getting out. Okay. I'm up 181. This is on paper, by the way, just so there's no confusion. All right. But nice. Do you see how having both time frames up also gives us more perspective and more context? So again, for beginners, do this. Put up two time frames, a larger time frame and a smaller time frame. If you don't want to day trade like this, then work on a daily chart as your larger, work on a 4-hour chart as your smaller, right? set up your notifications. And at least the idea is to work on the side of the larger time frame. I am short. The larger time frame was never bullish. Okay? That is what keeps me on this side. At some point, this will change, but it's not there. Now, look, now we're entering support levels where a counter trend long may make sense. I'm not going to do that now because I'm not going to sit here for another hour. But got a pin bar there. Okay, now this is what, 30 seconds? Yeah. Let the pin bar close. Let's see what we get from that. If I see a green candle, I'm just going to get out. Look at all this orange. So if I was aggressive here, I'd be getting long. Okay, and this is a much more attractive level for a long pin bar. We may get some green here. I'm just going to get out of my short. All right, buying it back. Goodbye. All right, so let's see how that trade. Oh, look, it's going to go back my way. Whatever. It's all right. I still got a good price. And that wasn't even on a signal. So let's go here to the paper trade thing. Let's look at my history. So those trades right there that I took, what was that, 126 and 189. And before that, what was I took a loss on the other one? Wait a minute. So let me just see here. So my first one, I just have a hard time. I can't see. My first one was 149, as you can see there. Right, because this one is from Friday. So 149, then I gave back 120. So I was still up like $20, whatever. And then 126 plus 189. So basically what? Like 120 plus almost 200. So what is it, like $300, something like that? Something like that. All right, so you get the idea. Again, this doesn't calculate the cost of leverage and all that stuff, but I want to give you an idea how to. Oh, there's the signal. There's the signal. That's the counter trend for the long. Like I remember I said earlier, this is where if I'm going to go long, this would be the area. I got a signal. Now I'm not going to take the signal because I got to wrap this up. All right, but we can watch the signal. And remember I said before, these orange candles are an opportunity to get in early if you're aggressive. So I would have, if I had gotten long and now I got the signal, I can add. See how that works? So again, to wrap this up, to summarize, you can use a Trade Scanner Pro to simplify your decision-making process. It takes a little time to get to know what I'm showing you here, but the tool itself at least tells you where to get in. It tells you where to get out. It gives you some certainty, at least, of what to expect. And most importantly, it's a risk management tool. This is your risk. And when the trailing stop starts moving, it reduces your risk. It's always actively reducing your risk. Now, these are order suggestions. So you take these order suggestions, you have to respect them. Now, I give them a little room to fool around even after it gets stopped out because I have a lot of experience and I know what to expect. I know what can go wrong. Okay. But if you're a beginner, respect the orders. Just respect the orders. Also, paper trade. Don't use real money right away. Paper trade. And do this technique. Start with a larger time frame and have a smaller time frame. The larger time frame is like your roadmap. And what you're looking for in the larger time frame is your trend. That is what you're paying attention to there. Nothing else. Okay, if a signal shows up, ignore the signal. Don't be confused by that. Turn the signal off somehow. Like you can switch it to counter trend or whatever so the signal goes away. Turn off the signal. And then you focus on the signals on the side of that trend on this time frame. Okay, and then you switch to trend or counter trend based on what you're looking for from this time frame. Does that make sense? That is your homework. That is your exercise. Set up two charts. One larger time frame, one smaller time frame. Put the Trade Scanner Pro on both charts and then adjust based on the broader trend. So that improves your chances of taking trades that have a positive outcome. That's the whole point, stacking probabilities in your favor. There's no magical tool out there. This is not going to solve all your problems. You're not going to get rich tomorrow. But what it does is it reduces confusion and helps you take the same trades for the same reasons every time. It helps to promote consistency, but most importantly, it helps you manage risk. Look at this one going right to the stop. Trailing stop never even had a chance here to get going. But the point is, it helps you define and manage your risk. So for example, if you were using a larger time frame, like a 4-hour, for example, and you see the risk is like, 500 points, and you're like, man, that's too much. Great. Now you know that it's not for you, right? Or reduce your position size. Maybe you're working with the spot Bitcoin, and you say, okay, instead of a half a coin, I'll do an eighth of a coin or a 16th of a coin, right? And now you've controlled your risk because you have defined risk. This thing is just getting hammered, right? So much for that counter trend trade. The bigger picture still carries more weight, okay? This level wasn't that important. Obviously, the market just blew right through it. So the next level would be somewhere around here somewhere. This thing still may turn around here, but the next level is the lower one, right? This would be the next level. Keep in mind that lower level is that bigger picture 382 that we looked at the beginning of the stream. Okay, you guys have any questions? I don't see anyone typing anything. Any questions? So again, I hope you learned something here. I hope you use this exercise, this technique to help you get more familiar with the TradeScanner Pro. Keep in mind, you're not going to be a pro overnight. It takes a little bit of time. It's not going to take you 10 years, but I'd say give it like, a month, right? After the free trial, give it a month, give it 2 months, because you need to get a feel for how the system works. Okay, there's really no way around that. A little bit of effort is required. You should know basic context. As you see before, right, when I started the stream, we started the stream with basic context, and it helped set us up to at least participate in some of this move. Okay, the bigger picture carries more weight. All right, cool. So I hope that helps. Now, if you want to try the 14-day free trial, check the link in the description. Check the link that I have up on the screen here that you can see. Okay, the link right there. That link will take you to this page. Okay, right? Market Signals Pro, the TradeScanner Pro sign-up page, tells you about how it works, explains that, right? And then it takes you to this. You scroll to here, right? Try for 14 days for free. Please take advantage of this. These prices are going to be, these are preliminary, right? They're introductory prices. You could pay by yearly or you can do monthly, and these prices are going to go higher because this tool is very valuable. And some of these other things here, like the chat rooms and stuff, they'll be available soon. But right now, the main thing is the script, right? You want the script. So if you sign up today, again, please allow me a few hours to send you the invite, okay? It takes me a few hours. I have to remind you again, listen carefully. To send you the invite, it's not instant. It's going to take me a few hours, so please be patient, and I will send you the invite, and then you can put it on your charts. Okay? Otherwise, if you have any other questions, you could send me a message in the Discord community. So you could send me a message on TradingView. You could send me an email, mark@markpremarkets.com. Okay, that's all cool. And by the way, if I send you a message first, especially like if it's on Twitter or something, then it's an imposter. It's not me. It's an impersonator. So if you get a message from me, then please ignore the message and report the person, because I don't send messages out actively like that unless we've had a conversation before. Okay. All right. Anyway, I'm going to leave you guys with that. You know where to find me, all that other stuff. Okay. So everyone, thank you for watching. I hope you got something out of this. Enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of your evening, wherever you are in the world. And thank you for watching.